Well, good afternoon, folks, and welcome back. Cumberland Outdoorsman here with you on a hot and humid late August Tennessee afternoon. Today was the opening day of the Tennessee squirrel season, but I did not go squirrel hunting because I'm just not going to go when it's this hot and miserable. There's too many bugs, and the mosquitoes here are so bad. The other day I was sitting out here and I heard one say to the other, "You want to eat him here or you want to carry him with us?" Just kidding, of course, but it gets really bad here in the summertime. But that's the thing you're going to have to put up with when you live in the South. But hopefully the summer days will kind of wane off a little bit here shortly, and we'll get some cooler weather on the way so I can get out in the woods and do some hunting and bring you with me. Today I've got yet another video in my 22 series videos, and it seems like they've really started taking off, and so I'm going to be bringing you more of the 22 content in the near future. And today I've got another Marlin here with me. No, it's not a Marlin Model 60. It's a Marlin Model 39A, folks. A lever action 22. I just recently picked this one up and I thought I'd make a video with it because I wanted to share it with you, get out here and shoot it. This one here is older than I am, folks. I went by the number here on the tang, and this one here was manufactured in 1950. It's got a few little marks on it and a little bit of surface rust here and there where I cleaned it up, but other than that it's in pretty good shape. The action's still good and tight. It's got a beautiful American black walnut stock and forend, and the little gun is just very solid. It's quite heavy for a 22. Of course, back in 1950, in those days, you know, they made guns out of wood and steel just like they should be, so they're going to be a little bit heavy. As far as I can tell, it's a really good shooter. I've shot it out here a little bit prior to making this video, but I'm going to go ahead and load it up and take a few shots with it here in a minute, and I'll be sharing that with you as well. I think I got it pretty well zeroed in. I sighted it down here at 25 yards, and it looks like I'm pretty close to the middle. I've been shooting these CCI standard velocity long rifle loads, these target loads with it. It's a really mild-mannered load, but it's a very good round for testing your firearm to see how accurate and how reliable it is. Just a really good all-around cartridge for testing 22 rifles and handguns. This gun here was made before the micro groove rifling was incorporated by Marlin. That came about in, I think, July of 1953. The barrel is not JM stamped. I don't know when they started doing that, but there's not anything on the barrel on this particular gun, but it is an original Marlin barrel. It's a Ballard style rifling, and as far as I can tell, it's a pretty accurate little shooter. You know, it's got open sights, a buckhorn rear sight, and the front sight is has a brass bead with a hood on it, a ramp style sight. The crown is still in really good condition. No damage at all there. And the hammer still works really well. It's got a very crisp trigger pull. So anyway, before I talk about it too much, let's get it loaded up and take a few shots with it. Okay, anytime you get ready to load one of these, if they have a tubular magazine especially, you need to make sure that the gun is not loaded and that there's nothing in the chamber or in the receiver. This one here loads just like the Marlin Model 60. It's a tubular magazine. I'm just going to load up about 10 rounds here. And I haven't had any real difficulty as far as cycling or a failure to fire or anything like that. Well, I got 10 rounds in the magazine here, and the first time you cycle it after you load it, no rounds will be loaded into the chamber. And the safety on these old guns is the half cock position, just like that. Now if you were to accidentally touch the trigger or drop the rifle or whatever, there's no way that the gun will fire because it's locked in position. And by the way, my AC unit is running in the background, so please pardon the background noise. On these hot days, we got to keep it going because, like I said before, it would just be unbearable in the house anyway. So let's take a few shots down here at 50 yards and see how well the old gun can shoot at this distance. But we're going to put her to the test today, folks. Okay, I got this little cardboard target with some stick-on rifle dots in place. The top one, you can see where I was shooting a little bit to the right, and then the bottom one I moved the rear sight to the left, and I got most of them except for one, that's shooter error, right in the orange there. So we'll take a few more shots just to make sure it's on. This is at 25 yards for this particular target. And I'm going to shoot at the bottom target once again. Well, it looks like we're grouping just a little bit to the left. I mean, just a hair. So I'm going to move those sights over just a tad. Looks like they're grouping them right in there, though. Okay, and just like I showed you with the Marlin Model 60, if you have a rifle that has a rear sight that's adjustable like this one, doesn't matter what make it is, make sure you use a soft mallet like I've got here to move your sights. Don't beat on your gun with a steel hammer, you know. Even though you're only going to be hitting this part of the sight right here, you don't want to put any dents in the barrel if you accidentally hit the barrel. So I'm going to move it just tap it just a little bit. I'm going to hit it with the lead part of it. I barely felt it move right there, so I think I'm pretty well on the money now. So let's see how well she shoots at 50 yards. Okay, down here at 50 yards, I've got several targets as usual. I've got all these steel targets set up, and I've got a new one there right in the middle, a big orange target. I should set that further out at 100 yards, and I probably will by the end of the video. Well, let's go ahead and do a little plinking here with this lever action using open sights. And I see a squirrel. I see two squirrels right at the top. Let's shoot the one on the right first. See how close we can get to that. Another one on the left. Okay. I see a bunny rabbit right there on the left. Let's see if we can knock him off his pedestal. All right. Now I see two swinging targets, one on the right and one on the left. Let's shoot at the one on the right first. I think I hit a little bit low and to the left on that one. Let's try that one again. That's a little better. Now for the other swinging target. And I see a little bitty target just to the left of that, below the orange one. That big orange one, just below it, there's a little bitty one. I think that was a miss. Let's try it again here. I can't tell where I'm hitting there. Okay. As I suspected, I was shooting a little bit to the left, so I held right at the right edge of that target and I smacked it. I think the gun's shooting just a tad to the left still. Let me shoot at that big orange target. Okay, I'm going to try those swinging targets again. First, the one on the left. Now the one on the right. Well guys, I'd like to try some of this Hollowpoint ammunition by Winchester. This is their Super X limited edition PowerPoint. And I picked up a box of this because it's very nostalgic looking. You know, it has a squirrel on one side and a rabbit on the other, and it's very similar to their vintage packaging, which I have here. This is from the 1960s. This is some 22 short ammo, and we'll probably try some of that here in a little while to see how well the gun will cycle 22 short. But I just like these old packages because it has that old-time look to it, and I just had to pick up a box of them. So we're going to try them out here at 40 yards and at 60 yards on some water-filled soda pop cans. We'll see if my old eyes can zero in on those soda pop cans with open sights. So let's see how well I can shoot this old gun. We'll zoom in on these cans. I got 4 of them sitting there at 40 yards. I'm not sure if the gun's even sighted for this ammunition, but we're going to find out. We'll go from left to right, starting with that orange can first. Here we go. Whoa! I knocked that far can to the right down. Let's see if I can hit it in the bottom. All right. Now the next one to the left. The shock wave from those cans being hit is knocking the other ones down. Okay, that was 3 cans that I just hit there. Pretty dramatic. I don't know if I'd want to use that ammunition on squirrels. There probably wouldn't be much left of a squirrel. Okay, now we're down here at 60 yards, and I'm going to go from right to left. See if I can even hit that target from here. That's a long ways down there with open sights. That was a miss. I went ahead and loaded up some of this 22 short ammunition. This is a vintage ammo, so I'm going to sacrifice some from my collection to share with you guys. So I got 5 rounds loaded up here, and we'll be shooting at 50 yards once again. We'll see how well the old gun cycles 22 short ammo. First I'm going to hit that big plate, or try to. See how well it likes this ammo. Okay, now I'm going to go for that swinging target on the far right. Okay, now the swinging target on the left. For old ammunition, that stuff's still pretty hot. Let's try that again. That was fun. Well folks, that was a lot of fun shooting this old lever action rifle. Now it's time to clean it, and I'm going to show you how to take it down and service it. Like I said, you know, there's a lot of features on this gun that I really like, and one of them is the ability to take it down and clean the barrel from the breech end, which I'm a big advocate of. So let me pan down here and I'll show you how this is done the right way. Okay, first of all, you're going to need some cleaning solution. Here I've got some Hoppe's number 9. I've been using this for many, many years, and many of you have as well. I've got some cotton cleaning patches here, real cotton, a small flat tip screwdriver, gunsmith screwdriver, and a nickel. First of all, let's make sure the gun is not loaded. As you can see, it's not. It's empty. And we're going to put it on half cock. Okay. Now you just take your nickel and put it right into the slot of that screw there and unscrew it. Hold on to your nickel because you're going to need it to put it back together. And then the gun just comes apart right here at the receiver. Just like that. Here you can see the inner workings of the Marlin Model 39. We're going to lay this over here out of the way for now. And now I'm going to zoom in on this part because this is what I'm going to be concentrating on. Okay. As you can see, this is the bolt, and to take the bolt out you just slide it rearward a little bit and remove it like that. Don't lose the firing pin, okay, because it just drops right in. Just like that. The same with the extractor here, the extractor claw. It'll fall right out, so keep up with all of the parts for your bolt. Make sure you don't lose any of that. Now right here you have the ejector, this little lever right here that's spring loaded, and right in front of it you've got a little tiny screw here. Okay, let me zoom in on that a little bit more. Okay, right here you've got a little tiny screw. And what you want to do is push that ejector down and turn that screw counterclockwise. What that'll do is hold the ejector down so that you can pass your rod right into the bore. Pretty ingenious of Marlin to come up with that. Now we'll take one of these cotton patches, put it on my cleaning rod. Always use a clean patch when you're doing this. Don't put a dirty patch in your solvent. And I just saturate it just like that. And just pass it right into the chamber and run it through the bore. Now we'll run some cleaning patches through there, some dry patches. Hoppies number 9 will actually disperse moisture, so it prevents rust in the long run, and it's also a cleaning agent at the same time, so it cleans out lead fouling and powder fouling as well. And that barrel is already clean, my friends. Spick and span. I've got a rag here that's impregnated with mineral oil, very lightly, and this is what I rub my firearms down with to prevent rust. All the moving parts, everything. Now that I know the barrel is clean, I'm ready to unload this ejector. Once again, you want to turn it in the clockwise position, and that turns it loose. Make sure it's going up and down just like it should. Not that it's absolutely necessary every time you clean your gun, but what I do is I apply 1 drop of oil right here at the lever, at the pivot point, and that'll work its way in there. 1 drop of oil right here where this piece of metal slides up and down. And that's really all that's necessary, folks. And then right here at my bolt, I'll put 1 drop of oil right here where it slides back and forth, and just distribute that out. You don't want to saturate anything with oil, just a nice light coating, a very light coating. That's all you need. I do it pretty much just to prevent rust. But that's all the lubrication that you'll need. Slide your bolt back into place just like that so that it stays down. You want to come back here, this little part of the firing pin, you want to line up with the edge of this protrusion right here in the receiver and just slide it forward, just like that. Now, line up the 2 halves of your gun, just like that. Put the screw back in. Give it all a good wipe down with your oil cloth. And that gun is ready for service once again. Now that you got everything wiped back down with your oil cloth to prevent rust, everything's oiled very lightly, you know. You don't want too much oil inside of a gun because eventually it's going to creep into the wood and it's going to ruin the stock. So you don't want oil saturated in here and getting into your wooden stock. So you just want a really light sheen of oil on all your metal parts. Now that little 22 is ready for service. Well guys, before I close out this video, I'm going to give you a really close look at this Marlin Model 39A that I just recently got. And while I'm doing that, I'll be talking about it a little bit more. Like I mentioned, this is a 1950 model, Marlin 39A. The Model 39 has been in production longer than any firearm in history from what I've read. The first year of production was 1891, and there was a 4-year break in production during World War II, and then they resumed production after that. I don't know if Ruger is going to be making the Model 39 and continuing it. That's still kind of up in the air, and if they do, I don't know if they're going to come with micro groove rifle barrels. This one in particular did not, since it was produced in 1950, and like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, they didn't start making micro groove rifle barrels until 1953. So it's safe to assume that any Marlin rifle that you have after 1954 will be micro groove rifled. This one also didn't come with the JM stamp on the barrel, as is very common in Marlin rifles, and I don't know why. I really don't know. If anybody can tell me when that JM stamp designation was incorporated and got started with Marlin, I'd like to know, so leave your comment below. Let me take this opportunity to also correct a mistake that I made in my last video when I featured the Glenfield Marlin Model 60, which is JM stamped. That JM stands for John Marlin. I said it was Jim Marlin, but I meant to say John Marlin. That's just the way it came out. But it'll have a circle around it, and that means that the barrels were actually produced in New Haven, Connecticut by Marlin. In terms of the accuracy of this rifle barrel, since this is a Ballard style rifling, it has 6 lands and grooves. I can't really tell much difference with these open sights. It seems to be shooting very accurately. I could go ahead and mount a scope on here because it did come drilled and tapped for scope and scope mounts here on the receiver to test the accuracy of the gun, because with a scope you got a much finer point of aim, so you know you'll be able to see how consistent your gun shoots at different ranges with different types of ammunition. So I may go ahead and put a scope on here temporarily, because I really kind of hate to destroy the classic lines of a lever action rifle like this Marlin, you know. In terms of quality, I think, in my opinion, the Model 39A is the best 22 lever action ever made. The Winchester Model 9422 is a fine gun, but I believe I'd rather have the Marlin. And I was going to get the Henry Golden Boy, a brand new one, but I opted to get this instead because I just thought this was a better gun. But when I put a scope on here and test it out, I'll be showing you that in an upcoming video. And I'll probably be taking it into the woods to do some squirrel hunting with it this fall and harvest some small game with it. So with that being said, let me thank you for coming along. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm really glad that I got this old gun and I was able to bring it out here and share it with you, to get out here and shoot it and kind of show it off. It's a proud addition to my collection. And one thing I'd like to mention, this is something that's characteristic on Marlin guns. If you see that, folks, that doesn't mean that's where the sling swivel stud goes. That's part of the stock that was meant to be left on there by Marlin. If you're going to put a sling swivel stud on your gun, make sure you put it down here below it. I've seen a lot of old Marlin rifles like the 336 and, you know, deer rifles, and Model 39s like this with that drilled out, and that pretty much just ruined that mark. That's a target with a bullseye in it, and that was meant to stay on there by Marlin. But you know, you can correct that. They used to have this stuff available that would come in strips. You could reinstall it if the hole wasn't drilled out too big, and restore that, and then the gun stock will have to be refinished. But anyway, like I said, I'm glad I got this old gun. It's another classic old rifle. If you get a chance to pick one up and you can find one at a reasonable price and it's in good condition, make sure you take a look down the barrel, that it doesn't have any rust or any pitting or anything like that, and make sure that the action is working like it should, you know, that everything's functionally correct, you know, that the gun actually cycles like it should. And, you know, ask to run a patch down the barrel to make sure that the barrel is in good shape inside. Shouldn't be any problem with that, unless the person that's selling it's got something to hide. But you know, you're going to lay down your hard-earned money. You want to try the gun out and at least check it out. You wouldn't go out and buy a car without test driving it first. So you know, if it's possible, ask to shoot a few rounds through the gun. Make sure that it's working right. But I would highly recommend this old rifle if you're a .22 enthusiast, if you're a hunter, or if you like lever action rifles especially. You know, this is one of those guns that you really need to have. If you've never shot one, you never held one in your hands and sighted down it, you really don't know what you're missing, because these are classic, fine old guns. And if you own one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're just great shooters, and I'm real proud to own this one. So with that being said, let me once again say thank you for coming along. I appreciate you watching, and hopefully you gained some useful information from this video and that you enjoyed it. And also remember, if you like to go hunting, fishing, camping, shooting, hiking, whatever it may be, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. So until next time, y'all get out there and enjoy the great outdoors, and if you go shooting, make sure you do it safely. Just go out and have a good time. So we'll see you next time. Y'all take care.